Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, what you're witnessing in South Africa is quite extraordinary. Behind the scenes, you've got a huge amount of fracturing in the ANC. Huge amount of fracturing. And Ramaphosa is aware of this, and that's why he's kind of treading on stones at the moment. He's kind of wobbling around the place. And there's a speech that I'm attaching here. It's quite a lengthy speech. It's by one Julius Malema in the Parliament just this week. And what I found particularly interesting is that Malema said that we can't allow George Soros to play a part in our history. And he actually brings that up in this, and that's the only thing I agree with Malema about. Clearly, Soros is, therefore, apparently not behind the EFF, but apparently more behind the ANC, with his Open Societies Foundation. That's one point I'd like to make. And the second thing I'd like to raise is that clearly, from the speech, you'll hear Julius, Chameleon, Malema, basically trying to woo members of the ANC to come and join his side of the politics. And it's clearly that you've got that fracturing. Malema is totally anti-Ramaphosa or Pravin Gordhan because they're not in his camp. And he makes that very clear in the speech. But the real business going on behind the scenes is the Zondo Commission and the Public Protector, as you will hear in this speech by Malema. And there's a report that's come out which kind of adds a bit of meat to what I've just been saying, okay? Economic Freedom Front leader Julius Malema has declared that the SACP and other civil society organizations which are threatening to protest against the public protector to meet the party on the streets. Malema was addressing the media in Cape Town on Thursday evening in response to plans by the SACP, Ahmed Cathadra Foundation, Amnesty International, Corruption Watch, Section 27, Helen Suzman Foundation and Freedom Under Law to take to the streets in support of Public Enterprise Minister Pravin Gordhan. During a media briefing held at the Constitutional Court earlier on Thursday, the organizations announced that they would be embarking on a protest on Sunday, saying they would be confronting the fight back against state capture to defend democracy. The protest is scheduled to take place outside Johannesburg City Hall. Now, this is where it gets quite combative, because Malema has said in response to this, Malema said his party was not moved nor shaken by the organization's plans, adding it had noted the threats against it and would not be deterred. We want all of them combined. Bring it on. Let's go to the streets. If you want to fight, you'll get it, Malema said. He said the organization should meet the EFF on the streets outside the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria on Tuesday. Malema maintained the EFF held no grudges against Gordhan, but was merely acting against him because of the public protector's findings against him. He added it was surprising that people were being mobilized to undermine a Chapter 9 institution in the hands of democracy. Now, as I've said so many times, the woman who is the public protector is in Zuma's court, and she's trying to undermine Ramaphosa and Gordhan because Gordhan has been a very staunch supporter of Ramaphosa. That's what's actually going on behind the scenes here. There's a huge amount of posturing happening, and Malema's trying to make being part of the ANC very uneasy, so that he's trying to get people to kind of come across to the EFF. That's what's actually going on here. Anyway, Malema maintained that Busisiwe Mqwebani's office needed to be respected and protected. Now, Busisiwe Mqwane is the public protector. Adding, if remedial actions handed out by it were not adhered to, then it might as well be shut down. It is not the first time the public protectors call for action against a minister. All of a sudden, Cyril Ramaphosa, hippo eyes, has gone into amnesia. His predecessors acted on the remedial action of the public protector. Malema said the EFF had nothing against Gordhan and supported him before, but no public protector reports had been pinned on him then. Every time we go after constitutional delinquents, we're told we have personal problems with them. Tomorrow we may go after the president. Look at the type of respect we had for him. But if the public report comes and the president is found wanting, he will receive the same treatment Praveen receives and the same treatment Zuma received, said Malema. So, just to summarize, okay, here comes the lengthy video where you can actually see Malema talking about these issues. But what's going on behind the scenes is this posturing for members of parliament in the ANC by the EFF. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bells for updates, and have a great evening. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Relebishe Mansia Trobo Shobaoba, Tloretjinke ba ratang kudu batho ba mo Cape Town re kwela hore beke ye fela go na le batho ba more than 40 ba ba bolailweng mo Cape Town. So ro bona ba robale ka khutjo le ba malapa bona ba khomotjhe re ska khomotja fela ba ba tsebegang ba jwang di televisioneng. Honorable Speaker, the EFF caucus led by the Secretary General Godrich Gatti, Speaker, under the leadership of the President Cyril Ramaphosa, the center is not holding. Things fall apart and South Africa is being auctioned off to a very dangerous minority that has privileged intelligence in its services of its interests. Mr. President, since your rise to power, the country's political direction is heading into a different destinations. The evidence is seen in key state institutions that are not showing any improvement at all, and there is no evidence whatsoever that they will improve in the near future. The crisis in Eskom is getting worse, despite a board and management that you've chosen to stabilize this institution. This creates the greatest economic uncertainty because energy is central to modern industrial development. Trying to resolve Eskom crisis by splitting the company will only lead to the benefit of Goldman Sachs, Investec, and Rothschilds, meaning you'll be creating a situation in which the country depends on these families for its energy needs. Once South Africa depends on Investec and the Rothschilds to put on the lights, it is the end of the historic and revolutionary objective to liberate our economy from white monopoly capital. There is a crisis in Transnet, and again, this is despite the board that was appointed by you, and worse, in Transnet, African leadership has been marginalized, but still there is no sign of improvement. There is a crisis in SAA, again, this is despite the board and management appointed by yourself. There is a crisis in Denel, which is struggling to pay salaries, and the board and management of Denel were also appointed by your good self. But the most dangerous development under your watch, Mr. President, is the direction in which you are taking the Public Investment Corporation. As you know, the PIC is one of the most important institutions in the economy of South Africa, with over 2 trillion assets under management. With the current board appointed by your Minister of Finance, my homeboy, with due respect, you have effectively donated the PIC to a capitalist faction led by Trevor Manuel and his wife, Maria Ramos, who was involved in fixing of the South African currency. She has confessed to that. Maria Ramos and Trevor Manuel are the most trusted ground forces of the white capitalist establishment. and they unashamedly do everything in their power to please the Ruperts and Rothschilds. Why is the Deputy Minister of Finance not appointed to be the chairperson of the PIC board, despite the fact that he holds a PhD, making him more qualified than all those capitalist stooges you appointed in the PIC board? I never thought you've got a problem with young people of talent. I don't understand, why do you isolate Masondo? You remind me of the days when Mbeki isolated Peter Mokaba. And Peter died asking the question and asking for a meeting between President Mbeki and President Mandela, wanting an explanation of what he did. Till to his grave, Peter was never given an explanation as to what he did wrong to the movement. I see the similarity in wanting to destroy Masondo. You appointed the former Deputy Minister of Finance, the most intellectually challenged man, to lead the PIC. And then when a man of intelligence and a man who's got all the qualities to lead that institution comes, you isolate him.
Honorable Malema,
Yet you...
please take your seat. I've got a point of order.
No, thank you, Chairperson. I'm rising on Rule 84.
Rule 84.
Yes.
Please continue.
Yeah, in particular, in the reference to the former minister, deputy minister as intellectually challenged. I think it's unparliamentary. Thank you.
Honorable Malema?
Speaker.
No, I'm ruling, Honorable. Honorable Malema, the words intellectually challengeable, if you take them as they are spoken, are not unparliamentary. But in the sense you are using it, you are using them to reflect on a member. I do not think that that is correct, and I wish to ask you not to repeat that.
Thank you.
I have ruled. Please do not repeat the words.
We want to ask you, Mr. President, to reconsider the decision to exclude the Deputy Minister from the PIC board. Because if you continue to exclude these young people who are here to give us leadership, we will continue to fail these institutions. Masondo is not the type which can be a pushover. And we all know that the reason he's excluded is because he's not easily manipulated. Not Maria Ramos, not Trevor Manuel, not Honorable Jamnandas can push Masondo around. And that's why he's now being isolated. President, you are not in charge of this country, and a group of minorities are running this country on your behalf for the benefit of Stellenbosch Mafia, the Rothschild, and the George Soros. We can say it here under the protection of parliamentary privileges that the newly appointed SARS commissioner is a friend of Trevor Manuel, and that's why Trevor Manuel recused himself when the interview of this commissioner, which was held in secret, occurred. You were supposed to independently appoint a SARS commissioner, and you chose to outsource your powers to Trevor Manuel, who is the chairperson of the Rothschild Foundation in South Africa. When given an opportunity to appoint the National Director of Public Prosecution, you outsourced the function and appointed an NDPP who is saying the NPA must accept private donation from private individuals and companies. What is South Africa going to be if the prosecuting authority is funded by private capitalists who in South Africa are exclusively white and often engaged in many crimes of tax avoidance, massive fraud, and illicit financial flows? How is the NPA going to independently investigate and prosecute the people and companies that will be funding it? We as the EFF reject any suggestion that the NPA should accept private donation, worse, from private international donors, and will go to court to prevent that. The direct capture of such an institution for counter-revolutionary ends must be prevented by any means necessary. For all we know, The first international donor who will jump into opportunity to fund the NPA is the USA billionaire George Soros through his Open Society Foundation. Countries like Hungary and Turkey have banned Soros for pursuing regime change agendas because he does not respect the self-determination of other people of the world, just like he actively funded regime change in Zimbabwe. Mr. President, the public protector has confirmed what we all know, that there is an unlawful, illegal, extremely dangerous intelligence unit that was established by Mr. Pravin Gordhan in his previous job as SARS Commissioner. Some of the people who worked for this unit are coming out into the public to speak of its illegal activities. Mr. President, the rogue unit exists and its equipment and capacity are now being used by companies owned by Ivan Pillay and Johan van Lochenberg. The rogue unit is a political, and its political principles are primarily at the helm of a media cabal and a faction whose role is to lynch anyone who expresses or speaks against the formation of the unit and its illegal activities. I became a victim of this unit. I went to them in 2010. I met Opa Magashule. I met Ivan Pillay. I met Johan van Lochenberg. I gave them the document which contained all of this information. After I left, all my problems started. What type of a president are you who, even when presented with a hardcore evidence of the most dangerous activities of Honorable Jamnandas, you still don't act? The reality is the rogue unit was not established with a directive of any sitting president and did not report to him. This means whoever they reported to was as powerful, if not more than a sitting president. Also, why should such a unit collect information privately and in an illegal manner from the NPA? What are the implications of this? Which high-profile individuals did this unit monitor and why? It is highly possible that these high-profile individuals also included a sitting president. In essence, once intelligence unit is established outside the prescription of legislation, it means its activities were not subjected to oversight and accountability by the Parliament Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence. How do we hold them accountable? Mr. President, we are too young, but we have learned a lot from many of you. Many of you are still traumatized by the activities of the cabal. And that's how Honorable Jamnandas become untouchable. He needs to know that unlike you who are traumatized by him, we are not scared of him. We are going to take him head on, toe to toe. And there's none of you who can tell us how we must take on Jamnandas. Jamnandas' faction destroyed a lot of comrades, traumatized a lot of comrades, they smeared a lot of comrades, the same way they are doing now. When you disagree with them, they go to the papers. Let me tell you who's their next victim. It's Minister Sisulu, because they are projecting her as a person who's competing the president. The next, they will character assassinate her, because anyone that Honorable Jamnandas does not want, he engages in illegal activities to destroy their image. And it's not us. There was a report compiled about the cabal, and Jamnandas' name was there, doing exactly what they are doing now, to destroy and character assassinate those they disagree with. We are not going to be held at ransom here by Pravin. You are scared of him. We are not scared of him. Whoa, the same way you are scared of Zuma,
Honorable
we
Malema,
took him on, we
Honorable
dropped
Malema,
him. Today he's sitting in the
Honorable
commission there
Malema,
like a lost soul.
Honorable
We will do
Malema,
the same with Jamnandas.
Honorable Malema, in this house, he is Honorable Pravin.
Honorable Jamnandas.
He is Honorable Pravin.
Honorable Jamnandas is his name, Chair.
His surname is Pravin.
His surname is Gordhan, not Pravin.
Oh, my apologies, is Honorable Gordhan.
Mr. Gordhan. Mr. President, like Zuma, you will begin to hate this parliament. Do everything in your power to stay away from it, simply because you want to protect an individual against a Chapter 9 institution. President, this Parliament must finalize the amendment of the Constitution to allow expropriation of land without compensation. We should pass legislation to nationalize the Reserve Bank. We should create a state-owned bank. We should create free, quality, decolonized education. We must insource all the workers who are working in the government institutions, particularly the workers, the security guards, the cleaners. President, let's make it very clear. We find it difficult now to support this budget. I wanted to be the first person to support a budget of a president because I've got respect for you and I've committed that we will support you. But these tendencies that are coming from your side in defiance of Chapter 9 institution, in protection of corrupt individuals, in isolating young people with talent, it means you are canvassing the same grounds that Zuma canvassed before. We did not fight with Zuma because he was ugly. No. We fought with Zuma because, firstly, he outsourced his powers in the ANC to a family. And secondly, he undermined institutions of the state. You are doing the same. And I can guarantee you now, they can have all types of press conferences. They can release all types of statements condemning the EFF. We are not here by your invitation. We are here because of our hard work. Even when you said to us, the way you are going on, you will not come back here. We came back more stronger and powerful. And we are going to use this Parliament to put pressure on you and on your friends who are coming from the cabal to respect the Chapter 9 institutions. I don't care who occupies that office. That office must be respected. If Honorable Pravin respected you and respected the new dawn, he will do what the Deputy President did and say, let me step aside until my name is cleared. As peers, as people who are honest to each other, give him that advice in your caucuses and in your meetings. There is nothing wrong. Go out, go clear your name. You are appointable anytime. You can appoint him anytime as long as he has cleared his name. But because he's not honorable and has got disrespect for you, not because of the things we know. Maybe you know things maybe he knows things that we don't know. That's why he has become so untouchable. You even join in interdicting the remedial actions of a public protector in protection of an individual against Chapter 9 institution. When this Parliament degenerates, when the situation degenerates in this country, you will have yourself to blame. We want President Zuma repeatedly. I wanted to enjoy this Parliament. I wanted to enjoy your presidency. You've got the best chance ever to lead us out of a nightmare of disrespecting institutions of the state. When you get such an opportunity, you mess it up by protecting an individual. And this individual has got no respect for blacks, in particular Africans. Every little African talent we have known of, he has single-handedly destroyed. Our comrades are projected as criminals. The people who are in the trenches, the people who fought for this country, who are well qualified, destroyed by an untouchable man who did the same thing to Winnie Mandela. I will never succumb to Pravin's pressure. You might have done it to Winnie, you might have done it to Pius Langa. You will never succeed with our generation. Press go out.
Honorable Malema, Honorable Pando. You have the floor, ma'am.
Speaker, I would like consideration of the Hansard and the various aspersions that have been cast on Honorable Gordon without a substantive motion being brought to the House. And you, Speaker, and the Chair allowed it consistently, and I would ask for your ruling on this matter. Thank you.
I will do so, ma'am.
Speaker, please consider that when you make that consideration...
Honorable Ndlozi,
sorry, Speaker, may I please be recognized?
you are recognized. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Respectfully, when you make the consideration that Honorable Naledi Pandor is talking about, consider that there is a public protector's report, which is not casting aspersions. It is public, it is part of our debates, and do not, Honorable Speaker, be invited to stifle debate in this House. Everybody must be held accountable. So that is my respectful submission when you look at that answer that you are being invited to look at.
Honorable Ndlozi, thank you very much. Honorable members, we're not discussing the Public Protector's report. We are discussing vote 1. Honorable Pandor is raising a matter that she says I must look at. Whether aspersions have been cast against a member without substantiating. And I have undertaken to do that. In doing so, I shall not be influenced by anything but Hansard and what the member has said on the podium.